there particular votes of Representative Carney's that you found distressing or that really point to the differences and why that might have motivated you to get into race in the first place?
Sure. Well, ultimately, the $800 billion stimulus package, that's probably the, if you'd say, the straw that broke the camel's back. I was not pleased with that, and I think you may have understood why when I answered the question about Boscov's. I feel very strongly that it's not government's role to create jobs. Government must create an environment where jobs can thrive. My idea of job creation is not to hire 16 or 17,000 new IRS agents to enforce a law. That's not what I'm looking for. And the health care bill, certainly, I was very surprised when Congressman Carney actually made his announcement several days before the vote that he was going to vote for the bill. And then several days after that put out a release saying that the pro-life assurances he received from the president pushed him into the yes column. There were two press releases, and I'm sure you guys received them. And it didn't make a whole lot of sense to me, and I felt it was dishonest to the voters in this district because his mind was made up before that assurance was made by the president. And I think it's imperative that our Congress people must be responsible for their vote. They need to be open and honest with their constituents and say exactly why they're voting for something. If they voted for it, they shouldn't be ashamed of that vote. I am pro-life, as I mentioned, and I am troubled by the provisions in the bill that rely on an executive order. And an executive order is only as good as the president's word and can be changed at any time. And certainly I'd like to see some stronger assurances that say that there would not be any public funds used for abortions, and I feel strongly about that. And I think most Americans don't like to see that.
What is your stance on illegal immigration and what can be done to address that situation?
Sure. Well, we're a nation of immigrants. I feel strongly that the individuals that come here to this country, they're doing it because they want a better life for themselves and their children. And I can't blame anyone for that. I certainly can see the motivation to want to be here. What I'd like to see in the immigration platform is that we have clear and consistent ways that people can clearly see the path towards citizenship. And I've talked to a few immigrants. I'm friends with someone who recently immigrated here from the Philippines. The steps that those individuals go through, it's really heroic to think about it because they know more about our nation's history than I think your average 12th grader graduating from high school. And these people are coming here because they want to make a better life for themselves. I understand that the many farmers I've talked to have said they need to have a workforce, an immigrant workforce, to make sure that they can provide food for our nation. And I think that it's important that we make it very clear that we will reward legal paths to citizenship. That's very important. I do not think we should be giving benefits to illegal immigrants. I think if they're breaking the law, which is the law of the land, rightfully or wrongly, they want to be here. But we should not be paying for certain benefits, whether it's health care or Social Security, if they're coming here illegally. And the amount of trade that the folks that get paid to bring people over the border, it's tragic. These people are ripping off families to get them over a border. They're risking the safety and the lives of those families, and that's what's really a shame. We need to make sure that the path to citizenship is easily seen by those people that want to come here so that there's no incentive for them to go around and look for those illegal ways of getting here. And we have to make sure our country is safe from terrorists, and there are people that try to get here illegally that wish our country harm. I do feel that the majority, though, are here to have a better life.
What does the nation do with the estimated 10 million, 12 million who are already here, in your opinion? You talk about a path to citizenship, but I'm not quite clear what you mean about it.
It needs to be clearly defined before they get here. If they're here illegally, we as a country need to make sure we stand against that. We cannot allow them to continue to be here and use services and not be really recognized as legal citizens. So I would say that we need to return folks that are caught for breaking the law. If you have a drug violation and you're illegally here, you should be sent back to the country of origin.
Do you feel that some illegal immigrants are getting services? I often hear that they're getting health care and they're getting this and getting that. I had to renew my driver's license.
Mm-hmm.
And if you didn't have 3 forms of identification with the photo, you weren't getting a driver's license. So
it could depend on the states. The states have the ability to regulate driver's license qualifications, public health care options. Each state has a different option there. In Pennsylvania, certainly if you go to a physician, if you're in the emergency room, for example, they're not allowed to ask you if you have insurance coverage, so there could be individuals that come in that way. I'm not talking about driver's licenses in Pennsylvania.